What's good? My name is Skinny, and I'm a Destiny player.
Hi, how are you?
I'm sure you've heard of that game. I'm also an Arc Raiders fan too, and I know you've heard of that game. It's the biggest game out this year by far. Put those two games together, add a fire art style, make it first person, and voila. You've got the next big extraction shooter, Marathon, and we've got Arc Raiders to thank. How? Easy. Arc Raiders showed the masses, myself included, what makes an extraction shooter so much fun. It also made space for the casuals to enjoy it as well, but there's more to the story. To get the whole perspective, we must go back to April 2025, when Marathon's first closed beta went live to lukewarm reviews. Then right after, Arc Raiders went live with their own beta and wiped the floor with Marathon in almost every category that the two had in common. The vibes for Marathon were at an all-time low. The masses were even dubbing it Concord 2. And that wasn't even the worst for Marathon, the devs, or the fans. Shortly after the betas concluded, and on June 22nd, a tweet hit the internet that I thought was the final arrow in the back of Bungie and Marathon as we knew it. Bungie was being accused of plagiarizing a large portion of the art that was used in the game, the same art that drew in a large mass of fans because of its use of bold colors that were contrasted with deep blacks and blinding whites, on top of a hyper-futuristic aesthetic that felt unique and familiar all at the same time. It was a gut punch. After spending so much time in the world of Destiny and knowing what this team is capable of, I couldn't do anything but stand with Bungie, knowing that if they can iron this situation out, they could put out a product that everyone could enjoy. You're probably asking to yourself, how did any of this help Marathon? Well, the media storm came through like a wrecking ball and forced Bungie to take a step back and rethink what makes Marathon and what makes the extraction shooter genre special. In my experience, it's three things: immersion, player agency, and in-game. After the lawsuit was settled and proper credit was given, Bungie was able to go back and add the things that players love from Arc Raiders, such as proximity chat, to add another layer of immersion. And later on, they were able to polish the graphics and lean into the first-person nature of the game and added more foliage and obstructions so players have to risk it for the biscuit, if I say so myself. In addition to that, we have Bungie's gun design that we have all loved since Halo. More on that later. And the world building, if you know, you know. Can't forget to talk about the shells, aka the heroes, the classes, the characters, whatever you want to call them. I like to use characters because that's probably the best term to use, because they each have their own distinct identity, like the dark and brooding assassin who can pop a smoke screen upon landing to make a smooth getaway, or the destroyer who wears heavy armor signaling that they're not here to play around. They come equipped with a front-facing shield and thrusters to get up close and personal before they send you back to the lobby. And there's 4 other classes at release, which I'm assuming each one will have their own voice lines and quips that will immerse the player even further. I'm getting a little excited just talking about it, because with the foundation like this, I have no doubt that Marathon's immersion will be top notch, and not to mention a list of outstanding voice actors, not AI. I mean, how are you going to make a game about robots taking over and use AI? Stay on topic. And then the player agency comes in, and that's what Bungie does best. When it comes to build crafting and gun design in shooter games, I don't think there's anyone in the industry that does it better right now. And if it wasn't amazing, Destiny would be dead like everyone predicted. We got from the Needler to the BR to crazy stuff like Last Word, Thorn, Gallahorn, all the staples of Bungie games of the past, and I expect nothing less from them when it comes to Marathon. They've already shown a few of the in-game weapons and how they'll differentiate from the average guns you'll find on Tau City. On the other hand, in Arc Raiders, you have makeshift weapons that fall apart after a few uses. Yeah, it fits the world, but we're playing video games. Come on. let's do some stuff that's out of this world. Don't get me wrong, Arc Raiders is a great game, but build crafting is the biggest area where I'd say Arc Raiders is absolutely lacking. There's not much you can do to differentiate the way your raider interacts with the world compared to others. You just find your favorite streamer, copy their skills, and go on about your day. On top of that, there's no exact measurements for the skills on the skill tree, so it's not very friendly to min-maxers coming from MMOs or RPGs or even Destiny, where people will spend hours and weeks raiding just for the perfect roll on their boots or gloves. Yeah, it's that serious for some. So if Bungie can push this loadout or build aspect of the game to the forefront, I believe it can give Marathon the legs it needs to run a solid in-game that can elevate Marathon into a space where it can survive on its own, whether it's with organic fans, a guardian sent from the Traveler for support, or just a raider looking for a vacation from Speranza. Now, to scope in on that in-game, they haven't really delved into it, but from what we've seen from past iterations of this game and from their past games, we can speculate on how this is going to go. It's safe to assume that there will be in-game cores, implants, and weapons that will be locked behind activities within the in-game map, where you will have to have a certain level of gear to even enter. Talk about risking it for the biscuit. That's what I like to see. We might also expect in-game enemies that will probably take a well-coordinated squad, or maybe even multiple squads like the Matriarch and Arc Raiders. Third thing we can expect is faction missions. Some could be time-gated or even give updates or directions day by day or week to week, keeping the game fresh for a longer period of time than just one big update where the hardcore players just gobble it all up and say there's nothing left to do. Also hoping that they let you pledge allegiance to a said faction after a certain amount of time, allowing players to not only learn more about their specific faction, but allowing players to also rep their set and show their colors. I'm talking specific outfits or color schemes for your runners after you've gotten enough experience, like they did in Destiny, but they could go even a step beyond and have weapons and augments exclusively tailored to each faction. Like Arachne, the Death Cult faction, is said to provide missions that will lean more into PvP and taking out other players, while they could also be supplying the players with augments, weapons that will help them get the upper hand in engagements with other players. Bungie has stated that there are 6 different factions within the game with their own themes and objectives. This should allow for a considerable amount of different options and playstyles for players to pick from. All in all, the competition between the two games will be a boon for us gamers as they continue to evolve the genre into something that can stand with the upper echelon of shooter games like your battle royales, the Apexes, your tactical shooters, your Rainbow Six Sieges, your CSGOs, or even your more casual shooters like a COD or a Battlefield. But I couldn't finish this video without being honest. I was on the fence on Marathon after playing the closed beta last year. I would say part of it was because it was my first extraction shooter and the onboarding process was a little rough. But after playing Arc Raiders and falling in love and locking in about 50 to 60 hours topside, I can look at Marathon and I can see a diamond in the rough. And if Bungie can put the proper polish on this diamond and present it to the world in a proper fashion, that means no major bugs at launch, no server issues. It has to be optimized and it has to have all the systems ironed out without needing an expansion or immediate reworks on characters because they're fundamentally too strong. Lucky for you, Bungie, a certain game just took the internet by storm a week or two ago, for better or for worse, and that has bought you a little breathing room. But Bungie, hear me good. The pressure is still on to deliver. And you know what they say, pressure makes diamonds, and I believe Marathon will shine bright. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. It means the world to me. You can leave a comment, give some feedback, give it a thumbs up, even subscribe if you could. I'd really, really appreciate it. Thanks for sticking around. Deuces.